What is up, everybody? We are back with another episode of TripleKO. My name is Jason Wong, not Justin Wong. And
hey,
we
Jason.
got Michael McMuscles. How are you doing?
Ooh,
right?
pretty good.
And we got Terry Dood. What's up, Terry Dood?
My name's Terry Dood. Dude, Terry. Dude,
yes. Man. Dude, man. And we have more crazy fighting game news. I feel like fighting game news, it's just impossible for them to stop. And the first one, we got to talk about the banger. Terry, obviously we saw Terry come out with the gameplay trailer on Gamescom. And then, Max, you had a chance to try out Terry just like everybody else did. How was it?
Did you also get a chance to play him, Justin, or were you like on Mars?
I was on Mars.
He was on Mars. Okay, you're in a completely different world of the Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to play Terry. If anybody wants to grill me on Terrell shit.
PAX West, though?
We didn't get a lot of time, though.
Yeah. He was playable at PAX West, but at that point, I was like, I just want to wait till...
Oh, you did? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I focused my time on playing Monster Hunter Wilds, and that game is fantastic. But I don't want to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds because I can talk hours about it. I want to talk about Terry. It just seems like his combos are really cool. You said you didn't have too much time to play. I think they were like I think Capcom's more trying to like limit people trying to find out stuff. It seems like, right?
Long story short, I think a bit of just the way it was worded, and the amount of time we had. You almost had no time to figure out actual combos. There's no training mode situation. Even a 1v1 situation, they don't really let you fight against like lower CPUs. So it just becomes like, okay, so I can sort of just look at normals and maybe pull some conclusions, maybe do a drive rush combo here and there. So big combo extensions, not really there, but you get a feel for the character. He's got a great low forward,
Yeah,
that's great. I don't know if it's the same speed as Ken's or anything like that, but it's pretty big. So we got a character with a good low forward. High chance he's going to be pretty decent, just in general. He's got a lot of specials. And
too many.
almost too many, because they relegate some special moves that he normally has into target combos.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing they do, which I found kind of fascinating, because he literally has like 7 specials, and unless you start doing reverse DP motions and stuff, he's gonna run out of inputs. Like you're just like fireball forward, fireball back, DP forward, and there's not a lot of DP reverse in Street Fighter 6. I don't think there's any reverse DP motions.
No, there's not, I think.
Yeah, so I'm like, unless they give this guy reverse DP motions, I don't know where they're going to put these moves.
How about charges? That would be the optimal solution.
They could have done Luke stuff with him. They literally could have. So what they do is they treat it like SNK style, where the first 2 buttons on some attacks do a special move, like charging, charging knuckle and type of shit. But the heavy version does something different. It's like a completely different special. Like
power wave versus ground wave,
exactly.
Which doesn't go forward. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's where they put that move. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of smart. So they like SNK style, where the first 4 buttons sort of do like a couple of things, and then this extra attack is added over here on the heavy or something like that. Yeah. So that's how they manage the fact that he has more special moves than most characters in the whole game.
And we also saw his critical art version of the level 3, which is he launches himself by power geysering
the ground. It's incredible.
It's very Dragon Ball like anime-ish.
It is
the way it is. It looks like a Goku like Kamehameha beam, especially the last hit, just into your chest. Yeah. It looks insane.
I'd say overall,
the camera work too.
Like gameplay feel wise, he felt a bit heavier, because Terry historically does feel sort of heavy in a lot of the games he's in. He feels a bit closer to his iterations than KOF 14-15, where he's got some heft to him. That seemed to be the target goal. He's not like CVS2 Terry, where he's like mad floaty and he feels like he weighs nothing. No. He's got those normals, but he's got a little bit of heft to him. I'd say he's like a slightly slower version of like Ken, just in terms of like movement and attacks. And it's like, how do things feel when you do stuff with him? It feels like a little bit beefier version of Ken, but a little bit slower.
What about like 13? Because I feel Terry feels everyone feels heavy in 13, but
yeah, I'd have to go back and play it. It's been so long for me. I put a lot of time into 15 Terry and obviously 14 Terry. So those were easily the comparatives that they were targeting with his like overall gameplay feel.
Did you feel like as Street Fighter 6 Terry had any like SNK element to them from the short period you played them?
So the biggest thing I was kind of looking for was like cancelable command normals, because that's just a KOF Terry thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't really find much. He does have a lot of target combos that bake that stuff in, though, where it looks like, oh, this is, and he has like a low, like it's like down MK, forward HK, or some wild shit. It's like a low to launcher.
Right.
That's the to me that's the it's the move that he had in King of Fighters 97.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this move before, and it's like a really old reference. So they give it to him in a target combo in this game, and it's a meterless cancelable launcher. So if you get an opportunity where you get a big button or a jump in or something, this is what you're doing. Because I saw some people in Japan that were playing it at, you know, some events and stuff like that. He was getting 30% damage meterless.
Is it a kick? It's like a kick launcher.
Down
right?
kick, like
launcher,
stand HK or something like that. Target combo launcher.
I think that's supposed to be a special move called fire kick, which looks like that, but I don't think it used to launch. It might be at least, because it used to have that move.
He used to have a weird move like this that they eventually took away, and it's like, oh, so there's a lot of like wild references all over the place to old Terry and new Terry in there. So I think this is the first time Capcom has ever done a character in a fighting game that's like a labor of love. You know, you feel this labor of love in like Sakurai with Terry and Smash and all the other characters that he gets guest character-wise in Smash. This is that equivalent, but I'd say even exponentially higher, because you have a character that has more moves. You have more interactions, different interactions than a Smash Brothers, you know? So they really gave a shit.
Speaking of Smash Brothers, I remember a quote from a very wise person named Maximilian, who was watching a Smash stream, I think for Terry, and said, this is the stuff that fighting game players want, but Smash players get.
Yes.
All the references and love and stuff, when we saw how much Sakurai put into that.
Yep.
And just seeing that, let's make sure to get one of the NPCs that looks like Andy looking for Terry's like high five or whatever in the rollout to when the match
so
starts.
good, bro.
I couldn't believe that when I saw it. I was like, and then you look really closely, like, no, it's one of the NPCs that you always see in Street Fighter 6, just dressed like Andy, but it's close enough.
The one that comes out during the stage intro, on player 1 it's Andy, on player 2 it's Joe. And they have different interactions. That I think is supposed to be Andy and Joe. I think it's like, if you look at them pretty closely, I think they're close to the creative character style. They don't look as polished as a Terry would, but I think the idea is that his brother showed up and gave him a high five or some shit before he goes onto the battlefield. I'm like, this is fucking amazing, dude.
and then you got Blue Mary just getting a drink on, right? Literally, it's like, do you think she's drinking a Bloody Mary?
I think she's actually drinking
Whiskey.
something that's called literally it's called like, it's a blue drink. It might be called a Blue Mary.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
Blue Lagoon.
It's so there's so much love, care, and attention like all over the place with the character, and even in gameplay stuff. Like if you look at the key poses he has when he does all of his supers, he literally does the goofy hands forward thing. From the anime, which is him like collecting the energy. He does the literal key pose, and it's the same thing for Buster Wolf. He does Galro Buster Wolf key pose.
Yeah, but we've seen how like Nakayama and everyone on the Street Fighter 6 team, they watch the animes again.
Yes,
like just Cammy's level 2.
Yeah,
we've seen them before, and even
movie
her like
throwback.
her red. Yeah, like they dig deep into this stuff, or they're probably kids or like really young adults when that stuff was coming out and watching it and just remembering it. This is the stuff you or I or Justin would do
exactly
if we were at like the head of this.
That is exactly it. Like this is like, oh, if you had the opportunity to put Terry Bogard, Matthew McMuscles, would you make him do the goofy hand thing that he does from the
Yes, I would.
Yes, I would. I would,
and I would make his level 3. And I would make his level 3 a fucking rising tackle. I was like, no, that's absolutely.
It's stuff like that. And you feel it. Like, you feel that they truly give a shit with this character. They truly give a shit that this is the first time they've ever had a guest character. And it is the most appropriate Street Fighter guest character of all time. He practically has been a Street Fighter his entire existence, you know, leading to the fact that his creation ties back to Street Fighter 2 technically with people that made Street Fighter 2. So it's awesome. It's awesome to see like Capcom and SNK, we'll talk about more later, Capcom and SNK effectively nurturing their own ecosystems together. And now we're going to like help each other out directly, and financially both companies are in the best spot they ever have been as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really excited for if they did such a great job with Terry, I can imagine with Mai. Like I'm just super excited.
With that new costume, dude. Holy crap.
Yeah, that new costume. I mean, do you think, okay, obviously Mai City of the Wolves, the black outfit going on. Would you say when Mai comes out, that's outfit number 2?
Good question.
It's difficult because it's a brand new costume, right? Versus Terry's Garou look, which people have grown to love like a lot, like almost as much as his original. So it's 50-50 whether they're going to do that or do like Capcom's own thing.
Yeah.
Chun-Li outfit for Mai, like CVS2 intro.
That'd be funny.
Ooh.
I think they will. I think her default, like Kunoichi outfit is going to be the number 1.
The default.
And then just like how Terry's number 2 costume was Gauro Terry. So, yeah, I think it'll be that way.
Right?
So too,
It just seems like that way, but there's just so many ways to play with it because obviously they have to somehow add that CVS2 interaction because they put so much labor and love with Terry.
Yeah.
I just can't see them not doing Chun-Li Mai interaction like CVS2.
Yeah, and that's like where, bro, like, so Chun and Mai have a great CVS2 interaction, and Terry and Ken also have a great CVS2 interaction. If you want like the 2 best characters that could possibly show up in Fatal Fury, I honestly think it would be Chun-Li and Ken. I think that those are like really, instead of just always being Chun and Ryu, which is they're getting a little tired of that always happening. I feel like Ken sort of fits a bit better in the Fatal Fury universe, at least his Street Fighter 5 iteration.
So. Yeah. Just the whole revving up like mechanic and just like, everyone's like fiery and, has like the super meter and just don't overheat.
Yeah.
It just screams
very Ken-like already.
Yeah.
So do we still think that City of Wolves will have a potential guest character?
I think it will. I think it's more of an eventuality instead of it being an if, right? I think it's just going to happen at some point. We were thinking it was going to be KOF 15, but the further away from God we get, like we don't know if that's going to happen. But still, I think that this is the beginning of an ecosystem, based on things that SVC Chaos and new things that we're going to talk about. They're supporting each other with like a unique ecosystem. And I see the whole point of Terry and Mai showing up in Street Fighter 6 to get people to go play Fatal Fury. Like that's the whole point. Check out our new fighting game. You're probably really going to like it if you like Street Fighter. There's a lot of Street Fighter isms like from Street Fighter 3 and stuff in here. So it's just going to happen, man. I think it's just
I think so.
I just think it might not be at launch, but I think it's just going to happen.
I'm not sure if it'd be in the first DLC like wave, but it could be. Like you could have one character, the last character of DLC wave 1, but yeah, it's like kind of 50-50. It'd be weird not to, but also I think it's almost like kind of too soon.
It might be a little too soon, and I think I agree with you. Like the end of the first season of DLC characters, which would be the end of 2025, if not the beginning of season 2, that's what they did with Terry,
And it's like 5 characters, unlike Street Fighter 6's 4. And I think 5 is a great number because 4 of like original cast members or, other SNK characters and then 1 special guest character is like a good ratio to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So SNK is really not known to have, I would say, the safest choice of DLC characters, like guest characters. Do you think, like, obviously we talked about how Ken and Chun-Li would be great for City of the Wolves. We might have something like where it's kind of like SVC, where they just choose the most randomest Capcom characters in City of the Wolves.
Yeah, like Spencer,
like a Sagat or a Balrog.
Sagat would be sick.
Those choices were made
Shut
in
up.
An era of SNK when they were not making the best choices, and it was just to give them credit. They were like going bankrupt. So I don't think these sort of things that would happen, like Terry and Mai being in Street Fighter, is very specific. And whatever the hell is going to happen across the pond in the other direction, I think will be very intentional. So these are going to line up with like marketing efforts, and they're going to be, finely tuned over years. It isn't just a thing, hey, we did this 3 months later, now Sagat's a big shithead and F3C Chaos. Like, no, this will be like super coordinated. And I hope it's like Chun-Li. And in a perfect world, if you want maximum, like, Jesus, you want to get the most Street Fighter players in from Street Fighter 6 and Street Fighter in general over into Fatal Fury, you put Ken in there, who's the most popular character online, and you put Jury.
Well, you put Jury's foot. You don't
Just
need
her
Oliver. You just
her
the
foot.
foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Jury and Ken are like
Just a
the
giant foot.
especially when the game was out. They're the most popular characters online. Just do them.
Yeah.
Like they're great too. Those are two great characters to have interactions with.
I would be totally fine if it was like Ken and Jury. That makes sense. Chun-Li also, but Jury would also fit into City of the Wolves really well.
People would lose their
100%.
goddamn minds, dude.
Like the Kim brothers versus Jury, or she could be the new Freeman style type of character. That'd be sick.
No,
Right.
good calls.
All right. Before we move on, is Terry a Shoto in Street Fighter 6?
In
He
my
has too many special moves to be a Shoto.
in my personal opinion, no.
Yeah.
His fireball goes under fireballs, so he has too many weird outliers. Right, where it's
Okay,
like
yeah.
he doesn't have a really great like Tatsu. Like he doesn't have a big full screen Tatsu thing. He can't do like jumping Tatsu or anything like that. He does have a DP in Rising Taco, which is nice, but to me, I don't. He's close. He's definitely closer to a hybrid Shoto than being a traditional Shoto, which is good, because I think even if we get new Shotos from Capcom, like Sean and shit like that, those are hybrid Shotos,
Yeah, hybrid Shotos.
You can't put a label on Terry. It's impossible.
You can't, man. Terry is Terry. Like Terry inspired Soul Bad Guy's whole fucking moveset.
Yeah.
So
how do you put a label on a lifestyle?
How do you put a label on a lifestyle?
Oh man. All right. So moving on, we have this trailer I felt like was amazing. Sektor from Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah.
Like so good. Everything
good.
about like the gameplay, like the different moves that she has, it was beautiful.
Yeah. So did any of you guys get a chance to play the last updates like Takeda and stuff like that they were doing?
You are the
Am I the only one?
I was about to say you're the Mortal Kombat
I did
guy.
mess around with Takeda, but you played the most definitely. Out
So
of all of us, Max.
as we were like talking, that it feels like they're going in a saucy direction for the next season,
Saucy.
based on how Takeda plays. And Takeda just like I don't think he was that good. He was just kind of too slow with his openers and stuff to be like really competitive. But goddamn, I don't care. He's so much fun. Like some of the coolest routes, some of the coolest specials, all this air stall mobility. I'm like, whoa, dude, this is so sick. And then we see Sektor, clearly a Batman reference. Clearly.
Yeah, you're right.
It's all
That's
And
right.
an Iron Man reference.
Batman. Did you see all the Batman jet boots and the Batman interface?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes complete sense actually.
All the air stall, jumping cancel, all this stuff, like a billion launchers. I was like, whoa, this is what they did with Takeda. Ooh, looks like it's gonna be fun. So
Yeah.
She looks kind of like the craziest that I think Sektor has ever played. Cyrax, I'm not there yet. Cyrax, I'm like,
Yeah, same.
Oh yeah.
all right. This is a labbing character, as Cyrax always is. You're gonna have to figure out some dank, stupid shit. Sektor is the one where it's like, whoa, holy crap.
Yeah.
You know what's
that's
crazy with Sektor and Cyrax is like even when they debuted in MK3, I was never like a fan of one more than the other.
Me
I was
too.
always like, Cyrax is cool. They can do this. Sektor's cool too. And it's been like that, and it's still kind of like that. And it's the same thing as Sub-Zero and Scorpion. It's like I love Scorpion a lot, but Sub-Zero's got this and this.
Yeah.
I don't know how they've maintained this balance between ketchup and mustard and ketchup and mustard 2.
You know who's always like teetered that edge where it's like, oh, this bot's just way cooler? Is Cyber Smoke.
Yeah.
Because Cyber Smoke has always been super cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. What would you do with these characters if they had nostalgic skins? Would they just look like the MK3 versions? That you can't have that team would look crazy. If you
MKX
had
bots look pretty
Cameo-
cool looking.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You could do that.
Oh, they're
They look
MK11
different.
costumes that never were in anything.
What was their costume?
Oh,
They were in the story mode. You fought against them in the
that's
story mode of
true.
MK11.
Oh, is it the human version?
No.
not human.
I'll bring it up. MK11, Sektor, and Cyrax had like an entire thing where you fought against like they were modified versions of themselves from MKX.
They were like NPCs that you fought.
Oh,
They were
okay.
NPCs, yeah. And
I forgot what they look like, but didn't they look like super advanced, like crazy?
I'm copying and pasting it right now. You could take a look. I'm going to describe with lip flaps to anybody that is listening to this. There you
For
go.
those that don't remember.
This is what they look like in MK11.
Yeah,
they're brolic. Yeah, they're muscular.
Yeah, they're
because you went into like the cyborg laboratory to stop them from being created or something,
Yep.
or to investigate something, and then like I think Frost comes in. But yeah, this Sector design is super raw. Like it looks really cool.
Yeah, I would love those costumes to come back. It'd be even cooler. Like the main versions of the characters are like the chicks. It would be cool if they brought like alt costumes that had alternate voices and stuff similar to JCVD, which they have done. Where it's like, hey, here's like older versions, robot dudes.
It's like how Zangief in Street Fighter 4 had like the Mecha Zangief, and when you hit them, it's like clink, clank, clank.
Yeah,
it's like
that'd
that.
be cool.
And I think that would also alleviate a lot. I think that's what they're gonna do. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like they some people obviously don't like it. They go, Sektor and Cyrax are not Sektor and Cyrax. They're technically like alternate universe characters that are sort of similar to it. They're not robots yet. I'm like, I get it. And in gameplay, they are like the same characters. But it would make a hell of a lot of sense, and it would be very WB-ness for them to put like $5 to $7 costumes of Sektor and Cyrax on the store, and they just go back to their robot versions. That would be very WB.
Every time you mention that, it feels like it's very possible that they thought about it. It was probably happened in meetings, and maybe they're thinking about it.
Yeah, that might have been like, we can make way more money by selling the old robot versions of the characters as just skins.
They are giving away those free
100%.
skins every week, though.
Yeah.
They are doing that. But did you guys see in the story trailer, there's this one character that's highlighted that is not named yet, and he like punches somebody, and he looks like a fighting game character, but he's not named. There's like one scene in the story, like cutscene bits, where it's like, is this a redesign of another... Like, how we used to see Chameleon in the background of certain scenes before the game came out?
Yeah.
It's like this, where there seems to be one guy punching. I'm not sure if I can find a picture of this in time, but hopefully we can get it like in the visuals of the podcast. There looks like a guy where it's like, is that Draman before he gets turned into a zombie? Weird. Is that Hotaru maybe? That type of thing?
Might be just a story character, yeah. Like Hotaru in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could just be like he does nothing, but like... I'm still interested in continuing the story, like the Chaos Reigns thing, just to see where it goes, because I was like, I think we're all happy with the story mode and how it felt pretty sasatisfying by the end of it. But
I know
still
a lot of people
felt
didn't like it, but it's like that's every MK story mode is going to have like people that enjoy it or really don't enjoy it.
It was fun. I mean, the whole multiverse thing is just cool seeing different personalities. Like like the beginning of the Sektor trailer, you see like he's Captain America, Johnny Cage sort of type of vibe, right? That type of thing, and then a bunch of like ninjas coming from behind Sub-Zero as well too. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of characters we come across, I would say.
Yeah, and I believe Max is very happy that this all comes out the same day as Terry. He said he would like more fighting game publishers to do this more. You can quote him on that. So, Justin, what else do we have?
Before we move on, Sektor as a rhino, we gotta,
Okay,
You like into a rhino for some reason.
You like that?
I have to give NRS like credit. There's not a lot of games that have like super high rendered animals in them.
Yeah, that's good.
That doesn't really exist outside of like Monster Hunter, and those are weird hybrid
like
animals, right?
Africa on the PS3 from like 2008.
So they're like super rendering lions and rhinos and beetles and friedels, like all these weird things that are going to be killing you. Every character is going to have an animality, and they had to like animate a huge ass animal and render their fur and shit. So it's like, that's a lot of work, dude. Like, what the heck did they bring in for reference? I wonder if it was like literally the the guy that plays Kano / Quan Chi back in the day on the side of the box. He's just crawling around.
Rich Divisio,
Rich Divisio, and it's like it's him doing the mocap.
I'd love that. You know what? They at least came a long way from charging $15 for a holiday fatality to animalities are all free.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Like, at least they did that. There's obviously still some monetization weirdness in MK1, but at least they've done some improvements. And like, it's a lot of work. Like Max just said, rendering all these fucking animals is not that they're just cutting to like a JPEG of an animal that they cut out from like a National Geographic. Like, it's a ton of work. So,
Which is what they did back in the day.
stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see all the animalities just come forth and everything, just because the graphics are just insane for it. So I'm glad it's free, but sucks that it comes out the same day as Terry though. But you know, Hideaki Itsuno announces departure from Capcom. Are we sad about this?
This is rough, man.
Yeah, it is sad. It's also like, you know, maybe it's just like his time. He's just done. Dude's like about to be 60 or something like that.
Like it's like the nostalgia's coming back.
Yeah,
you know?
and for anybody that doesn't know fighting game related, like people might look at Itsuno as being the Devil May Cry guy or the Dragon's Dogma guy because he is.
Yeah.
But this is the dude that came up with Rival Schools, Project Justice,
And Power Stone.
and Power Stone and Power Stone 2 and Capcom versus SNK 2. So Itsuno's like history at Capcom actually like mostly starts back with fighting.
Yeah.
Before he went to like, you know, Devil May Cry 2, Devil May Cry 3, 4, 5, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I just put out a video on it, but my feelings on the situation is that he made the best Dragon's Dogma game he could make, even though he couldn't do that before. He made the best Devil May Cry game he could make, even though he might not have been able to do that before with DMC4. So he did it. And now they're probably like, so do you want to work on DMC6 and do this till you're 60 for like another 4 to 5 years? And he's probably like, nah. Probably like, I want to go. And he said that. He's like, I want to go work on games like somewhere else. Doing something else that's not a Capcom.
Do you think
so?
Oh, go ahead.
I'd imagine he just got like a an offer you can't refuse type thing, or like start your own studio type thing. But I was personally sad when he said like I really wanted to work on a Capcom versus SNK 3. Like that would have been the dream thing. So
Yeah.
I guess that's not like happening at Capcom right now.
That was an interview from like a long time ago.
Oh, it was? I thought it was like from like 3 years ago or something.
I think the CVS3 interview, because they were making. And
they were.
It got canned. I think that was from like somewhere around the early 2000s. But if he said it again recently, that could be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know that it was said that like that was going to be a 3D like 2.5D game. Like in that quote, I was like, I never heard that. I heard rumblings they were making one.
Well,
I didn't know they're going to transition to 3D.
It would have been like Capcom Fighting All Stars. It was going to be like that because to be honest, like 2.5D, we can thank Seth Killian for that. I think he gets a lot of credit in the Street Fighter 4 era for deciding like, oh, because Street Fighter 4 started that way. Oh, this feels like shit because they didn't commit to. They had 3D hitboxes, so they didn't commit to it. And they're like, well, what if it just flattened? And then 2.5D is created. We did it. We can actually still have 3D characters with 2D gameplay. So
I'm sure Guile Wunko is screaming Battle Fantasia right now.
Yeah, like what? Like that what? That's not an art game, right? It's was it an aiding game?
No, it's an arc game.
It's an art game, right? Yeah, that was probably a good example back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but like barely anyone ever played it or heard of it, at the time. Like, they should really remaster that one. Like, I think like Arcs owns that franchise.
Who knows?
I'm not 100% sure. So
It's hard. I don't know. Can you even get Battle Fantasia now besides physical copy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think it's been
Yeah,
re-released.
probably not. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of sad, right? Just because, like you mentioned, he wanted to work on CVS 3, Rival Schools 3, Alpha 4, Power
He did
Stone
say
3.
that he wanted to make a new Rival Schools game like a while back, where he would like love to have like a graduating year, and where he wanted to do that.
That would have been great.
Oh, that'd be such a good subtitle.
Yeah.
Rival Schools graduating year.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that
cool
would have
idea.
been sick, actually. But like you said, he might have gotten an offer that he really can't refuse just because he's so good at his job. And at least I hope if it's a new game, maybe it's a new fighting game or a new type of Devil May Cry game, but obviously in a different name.
There's there's already some like not rumors, but like speculation. Maybe Square picked them up And it's like, that could be the case. Square's been poaching a lot of Capcom talent lately.
I would like Platinum to pick them up since Kamiya left.
Who? Platinum who?
Platinum Games.
That company doesn't exist anymore.
Platinum Games.
Almost positive they do, but since Kamiya left, they need like a new director. I can't think of anyone better other than the director of DMC 3 and 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if Inaba's running the show, I think it's Inaba's running the show at Platinum Games. That company's effectively dead. Based on the way Kamiya talked in the last many years of the games that they have produced, Platinum's done. Because
they don't really have anything announced or
they have nothing they've announced. Kamiya specifically said that they're in the business of making money now. They're not interested in making art.
Oh,
that's why he left.
That's sad. Well, what's not sad is Guilty Gear Strive coming to the Switch. This actually looked really good. Like I
didn't see a trailer for it.
Yeah, they showed a trailer for it, and it looked like it was regular Strive on like PS5 or PS4.
Yeah,
from what it seems like, but it was all captured from Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
so
I mean that makes sense.
Fantastic.
Because they got Dragon Ball working on that shit, and it's the same exact rendering techniques. You know, so
yeah, that is true. I forgot about that. Yeah, totally. I forgot that DBZ Fighters came out this.
One of the reasons it got the sales it did. You know.
How do you think online's going to be good on it though?
I read somewhere that anytime a new version gets added to Guilty Gear, like the Xbox version, it like fucks up the online play, like crossplay or something.
Maybe.
Like just adding all those players in there, like kind of messes things up. So I can only imagine like the many wireless only Switch users doing it. But I mean, it's still cool to get like, you know, Strive out there more. And if it really helped DB Fighters, like it can only help Strive.
Like sales wise, right?
Sales wise,
yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm hoping it does well. Like I'm just, cause I'm curious on like, on the rollback or the crossplay of it, because I can't think of any. Is there a game where there's crossplay on like everything that's like fantastic, even including Switch?
There's only really one game, and it's called Battle for the Grid.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I
full crossplay, every console and rollback.
I did run a tournament a long time ago for Battle for the Grid, and one of the placers in top 8 was a Nintendo Switch user. I remember that one. Yeah. So
when I was like covering that game a lot, because obviously me and Justin knew all the people that were making it, right?
Yeah.
When I would fight dudes online that were the devs, they were like, "Oh, I'm playing on Switch." They don't tell me they're actually playing on their Switch right now.
Yeah, and it was working really good. So yeah, hopefully Strive is working on that, and obviously there's like the new DLC characters coming out as well too. But we'll see.
It's funny the way that leaked. There was just a giant sign at PAX West that just said "coming to Switch" like a day or two before the trailer came out.
It was I guess that is a leak, huh? It was just there.
Yeah, technically.
I saw that PAX and I thought it was already announced.
I think it was because someone got into the venue while the sign was up, but the venue wasn't like open yet. So I think they snapped the picture and said, "Is this new?" I think that might have been how it went down.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming out pretty soon, January 23rd, 2025. So that's like pretty soon, like early 2025. So that's actually pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But Max, I need you to tell me what happened, Dragon Ball. Like what? I thought people were trolling. Like I thought this was mods.
People trolled with fake shit too.
Yeah, I thought this was mods, and I was like, what happened?
So I played it a bit last night, right? And people are like, it's just Marvel now. So no, it's not. It's getting closer. People look at the ability for you to touch a character and kill them and associate that with Marvel. And I'm like, so that's just a Marvel 3 thing, number one.
Yeah, it's a Marvel 3 thing, yeah.
Specifically a Marvel 3 thing. And I was sort of like hoping that might mean that some of the defensive options in the game got a bit more powerful or something like that. Like, maybe we did that, because that's the two-way interaction of a Marvel game is what makes it the most important. Insanely good offense, but like push blocking exists and a lot of defensive stuff. That's what makes MVC so great. A lot of aerial mobility, yada, yada, yada. So that did not change. What they did was give a lot more crazy combo routes to like everybody. Way more routes of how you just cycle the buttons into key into heavy.
Yeah.
So everyone gets new combos, more damaging combos. Sparking is like, now you're dead. Like, here's what they did to Sparking. They allow you to special cancel. So you can go from special, cancel into special, cancel into heavy special, cancel into another special, cancel into another special, cancel into another special.
So it's like King of Fighters.
In a way, yes. Yeah. Like yes. And it is, on some characters, wild. Like, any touch you get and you pop into Sparking, they're fucking dead. So they just made it that if you commit to Sparking, they're probably going to die. And people are like, oh, it's just as bad as X Factor. And I'm like, no. X Factor, you just pop and you do some basic ABC 1, 2, 3 combo into super and they're toast. Right. This, you still got to come up with some interesting thing to, this special to this special and this. So you still got to figure out like combos, right? Like legit ones. But when you're in Sparking as well, you can personally DHC, like the PlayStation 1 version of X-Men versus Street Fighter, or I'm sorry, Marvel versus Capcom 1. You can go level 1 into level 3. So they made it so that when you're in Sparking, you're fucking dead. Like, you're going to die. And it doesn't add extra scaling or anything like that.
Okay.
Those are the really big changes. A lot of stuff across the board with characters, they like just gave them extra crazy juice for some reason. Like, they just really buffed out things that didn't need to be buffed even more. So some really wild decisions are in there. So,
speaking of which, why were these wild decisions made now?
I don't know. I don't know.
This has to be like the end of the game. Like, this, I think, has to be like
is this Omega mode?
We have been saying exactly what Justin has been saying for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is the end of the game, right?
This is crazy.
So
now they're going to introduce Android 21 with 2 coats.
With 2 lap coats. So I don't know. Like, it's very, and there was, for example, on the previous big patch they had when the rollback patch came out, there was a lot of messed up shit with it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of documented stuff. There was obviously like the spectator bug where a billion characters are on screen and it's like, oh, the rollback is not syncing correctly. Yeah. But there was another thing that happened in that patch that not a lot of people talk about. They fucked up the graphics of the game. Like, the way they render and cell shade the characters and light them actually got way worse in that patch. Really? They did something to it, and which led to a lot of like, did Arc System Works do this? Like, that would be something that they would not do. In the same way, they changed the way, like, there's things called C assists in season 3 and beyond.
That's so like the combo assist, right?
Very powerful. Yeah. Like, they'll always knock down and they're always like, they're super good. Yeah. They took a long time to come back a couple years ago. And then within the last patch of the game, Arc System Works shortened them. They made them like, okay, let's make it a bit shorter. But now they're back to being long again. And I'm like, wait, they doubled back on, that seems very weird to me. That feels like that would not be a decision that would be made by the people that made the initial change. So I don't know if there's documentation that this is a Bandai Namco patch or an Arc System Works patch, but the previous big update they had with rollback netcode did not, when that eventually came out and was mass distributed, had a lot of weird issues and the graphics were fucked up. It's like, well, what is happening? So I don't know if these aren't the original people that made the game and they're just making changes and shit. I have no clue.
But this is like crazy changes, though.
Yeah,
it is.
Like someone else is just deciding, let's just go crazy. Let's go crazy.
And a lot of it's really cool. Like, to be real, like, some of the stuff that the characters do is a bit more in character. And like, Dragon Ball FighterZ has been a game of just remove limiters, right? Yeah. At the beginning, the game is very limited and like what you actually can do. And then they open that up a bit more. And then you open it up a bit more. And then in season 3, it gets opened up a lot where it's like, oh, you could just super tag in MVCI style off specials and shit on block and hit. And it's like, whoa, okay. And they keep adding more and they make sparking way better. And now they've done it again. So it does fall in line with the fact that you live for way too long in this game, just in general. Like, when you're good at it, you just survive forever. The matches take forever. And they're trying to kill you faster. So that seems to be what it's lining up with.
That makes sense, because the matches do last forever, especially like in tournaments and even tournaments are lasting for a long time. So imagine if you're a brand new player, you're literally going to play till time over, right? Because you're not going to kill people. So I guess this patch is more for those people. But man, the community is like, it's
completely hit or miss with the community. Yeah. Like, and here's the thing. I have sympathy for that community because if they liked old school Dragon Ball Fighters, like if they like that game, it's gone.
Yeah, it's completely gone.
It's completely, it's like Alpha 2. You love Alpha 2, right, Justin? We all love Street Fighter Alpha 2. It's fucking amazing.
It's
and then Alpha
fantastic.
3 just overrode it, and now you can't even play Alpha 2 anymore. It's like,
Just deleted it.
oh shit. But I kind of like Alpha 2.
Yeah, but you can't even like. Let's say if you already like because, well, everybody probably like updated the game and without knowing that it's gonna be like this. Now
Sure.
you can't even like. Can we just downgrade?
You
back
can't
to
even
the
go
old
buy a
patch?
copy because
You
that
can't.
copy is going to be some ancient version, and the game has gone through
Yeah.
like 15 iterations or some shit over 7 years. So you want but I want version 7. No, that doesn't exist.
So
Which
you have to put your console in offline only, then buy a box copy and just play that for the rest of your life.
even if you buy the box copy, it's going
It's
to be
the
some
old
ancient version.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to
you
be
get
like
it.
either like 1.0 or 5 or something. What if like, oh, dude, like version 12 was awesome. Everything, they finally nailed it. And then there was a couple of
I
patches
see.
after that just kept going. There's no way to like isolate that. It's kind
It's
of
just-
brutal.
It's literally gone. Yeah, for sure. Unless
this is the
somebody
problem
like,
with, like,
has
the
it in the
patching.
background. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why when Street Fighter 4 did like Omega mode, it was
Yep.
an optional thing.
Well, it was amazing. Because it's like, oh, if you missed those old versions of the game, we'll just put them all in one game and just keep the balance. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that could be what they could do maybe for a small patch once they see the uproar, but I don't know if they really see all these people uproars, or maybe they do, but they probably like, well, we can't do anything about it, or we're not going to do anything about
To
it.
me, it's just like, it's also just a confusing patch in general because like Sparking Zero is about to come out and you're about to like
Yeah.
lose a lot of those players to a new game. And it's,
Maybe that's what they want to do.
oh shit. I
We're trying to
Move over
kill
to
this game.
one because we screwed this up.
the decision process around it is just kind of insane is all I'm saying. But I played it last night. It's a ton of fucking fun, dude. Like the game is so friggin' crazy and fun. Like I haven't played really like more than an hour and a half of like Dragon Ball FighterZ in over 2 years. But I like jumped back on the horse last night and was like able to fight a few people and get destroyed. But it's like, yeah, when you get used to this game, it's really fucking cool. Like, goddamn, when shit starts like happening and stuff, and it isn't all meta, when it isn't all just meta playing out the exact same way like every single match, it's really a sick.
Yeah. So okay, that makes sense. I think for like people who are trying to be BBFZ world champion or Evo champion, or like those players, they probably be like, this game is ass. But
Yes.
anybody else who's just trying to play the game for fun,
Anybody
this
else is like, give me a reason to come back and play it. There's a really good reason.
This is probably the coolest game for them, right?
Oh, and the netcode's great. I played the PC version, and I played against several people that had like 0 bar connections, or like 150 ping, and it was fine. The dude's like, I was fighting you from Chile, and I'm like, oh shit, that is working just fine. That's cool.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy actually,
that's
especially
great.
with all the craziness that happens. Like some of the clips that I've been seeing, it just looks funny, right? Like,
oh yeah, oh
it's just
yeah.
constant, just like Vegeta just doing this times a billion.
So that,
it's like the most
Sparky
funniest
thing, he
thing
does
ever.
like one special into a new special, and now one of his fireball specials like dunks, like it goes up and then down. So it's like, oh, that's very Vegeta-like, right? Just over and over.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I definitely want to try it out just because it just seems like it's going to be a fun jank night.
Yeah,
game.
if you, I mean, I think historically, Justin, you're not a huge Dragon Ball FighterZ fan in general because it is very like on the surface level, it takes like Marvel 3. You know, from a surface standpoint, Dragon Ball FighterZ like used Marvel 3 as a standard, and they did all their crazy bullshit with it. They're like, oh. So, but as soon as it was like, there's no push blocking, and it's like, okay, so it's not really Marvel versus Capcom. That has not changed. It's still at its core very much is a Dragon Ball FighterZ kind of game, and you have to hold like 17 straight seconds of pure block strings and find out where the gap is to get out. It's like, oof, yeah, this is tough, man. Like this shit is oppressive.
Man, people tell me all the time, why don't you play Dragon Ball? It's just like Marvel, and I'm just
No.
have to explain to them every single time. It's not. I don't think you understand what Marvel means in a fighting game.
People just see 3v3 and they're like, it's like Marvel. There's 3v3 with TODs. It's like Marvel now, and it's like,
you can tag like Marvel. Like,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. People think that makes Marvel versus Capcom. It's like, well, actually, no. That is no. I'm going to be specific here, and it probably won't go over most people's heads, but until the game adds like a traditional push block, no, it's not Marvel.
It's a feel. You know, you have to feel. When you play Marvel, you understand it because of like movement, push block. Like it has to be like it. It's actually super anime in the most purest like video game form possible. Yes. While Dragon Ball, even though it's anime, it's not like anime.
It's the equivalent of like people saying 2XKO is a Marvel game. And it's like, no, it's not, dude.
No.
Yeah.
It might look that way. It might look like it's a 2v2 old school Marvel game, but no, it does not play like that.
No, definitely does not.
I think there's also this mainstream perception that DBZ Fighters like killed Marvel Infinite. Because what was it? The demo dropped the day that or a day or two before Marvel Infinite came
It was all
out.
very intentional.
It was all very intentional, and like everyone was like, "Oh, it's dead! Oh, it's killing!" Because DB Fighters looked the way it looked, and Infinite looked the way it looked at the time. So I think there was like this mainstream sort of like, "This is the new Marvel," because of the surface level things,
100%.
like 3v3s. So it's just,
and that was, I mean, that still carries. Where like, oh, if you want the real Marvel game, you play Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like that was absolutely a sentiment that was being carried around when 2017, 2018, when that game.
Yeah,
that's like if you want to play the real Marvel, you play Avengers in Galactic Storm.
There you go.
You know, that's
I remember
tournament with that.
Yeah, I love that game. It's actually pretty jank. But I remember there was an event. I forgot where it was, and it was like the same time as Dragon Ball FighterZ and Marvel Infinite. And there was two booths, obviously the Capcom booth and Marvel Infinite, and
This was Evo.
Namco. Was it Evo?
This was Evo.
Okay, and then literally like the line was just packed with Dragon Ball, with people playing Dragon Ball, and then I'm just on the line by myself playing Marvel Infinite.
Yeah, that was Evo. Because I was there, I competed it. That was my big Dragon Ball clip moment for like a tournament, and then I went over to the Marvel line, which is right next to it, and there was just like a quarter of the people, and I just like recorded as much footage as they possibly wanted of MBCI. So, yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah,
we gotta change that.
Yeah, we'll try and change that. So, what do we think about? I was pretty disappointed about this. You know, obviously SNK was cooking a lot with like really great news. The King of Fighters countdown, it's more countdown. It's like an announcement of an announcement. I would say.
Is it?
It's a advent calendar for KOF, where every day we'll get a piece of artwork or a piece of music.
Bro, we all got baited. Like literally, it was like, oh man, the collection. It's gonna be a big ass collection or something like.
I think on the last episode with Babe Ruthless, I had said, this is going to be a fucking t-shirt.
It's going to be a t-shirt. It's one of those moments. Yep.
Oh, man.
Or here's a t-shirt from 1998.
I would still love that t-shirt though, you know, but I like to think the last day of these announcements, like the 30th of September, whatever, might be something, but now I'm not like so sure. Like,
no, it's a long time from now to get to part 30. Like, this is a 30-part thing, and they release it 1 week apart. It's every 1 week.
Oh, every week. Oh, shit, I thought it was every day.
So if it eventually amounts to something substantial, that will be fine. It's just, as of right now, it's not.
I think I'd even be happy with, like, here's a new character in KOF 15. Like, that would be fine. Like, I think asking for, you know, even be cool to get KOF 11 or a collection. Like, they just released a, you know, SNK old school game, like, you know, a month ago. So
something.
So, like, at least one character announcement or whatever, or a new patch or a new mode or a new boss. A new boss in KOF 15 would be cool.
They're going to make a giant AAA release of KOF 12. We're going to fix it.
Okay, fix it. I just don't want wallpapers, posters. Hey, you could put this on your
wallpapers.
You could put this on your
wallpapers.
You could put this on your phone or PC. Like, give me something. Like, why is part 4 a special sale to celebrate King of Fighters 30? If it's literally 80% off of King of Fighters 15, and I guess that's pretty good for people that don't have the game. But man,
it should be noted, though. It should be noted that the 30th anniversary main visual has a character displayed prominently on that 30th anniversary logo, and his name is Kyo.
Who?
So he is there. It is not Terry. So Kyo fans, you're eating super well. Stop complaining.
Okay, but look,
he's right there.
If you look at it though, like If you just take the main screenshot, it is Terry like right above the 30th.
What do you mean?
It's right like because Kyo's on the flag, right? Like doing the 30th, and he's doing his little fire thing.
Yeah.
But the main graphic, like, is above the 30th. It's just Terry Bogard.
Right in the middle.
He's right in the middle.
But the logo is used on different things. The logo is separate, and they put a layer on a random collage, so that logo gets used other places. But yes, in this article, Terry is right in the middle. But Kyo's art is bigger than Terry's. He's larger man.
I'm for one very happy about the terrification of the video game industry. I'm very happy with it.
Oh man,
I'm also happy with it.
He doesn't have Terry's arms. He doesn't have Terry's beautiful face. He doesn't have Terry's fucking cool jacket or ponytail.
He doesn't have Terry's
nose.
He doesn't have Terry's alcoholism. That's important to the character, you know.
I played Kyo in CVS too. I like Kyo a lot. I always play him in
Kyo a lot
KOF's
too.
game.
Yeah, I'm a big Kyo fan.
I don't like the one. What's the goofy Kyo? They like changed his whole play style in like 2002 or something like that.
Yeah.
Nest Kyo.
Oh, that's 99 Kyo.
99. Yeah, something. I like Kyo where he has like the up kicks and then you do running fire grab, and they changed that completely at some point.
That's the blackout. So that was after 98.
Yeah. So I'm not a fan of that Kyo. I don't like that. I like when you go back when he's like stomping, all that kind of stuff.
I was actually a huge fan. I was a fan of 99 Kyo just because of one move when they gave him this little gut punch move.
Oh yeah,
but it froze. Like he like boom.
The hit stun's huge.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was the coolest. That was the only cool thing about him. But yeah, I get it.
Did you see that? Like Kyo super fans are saying Kyo wasn't even shown in the Smash trailer that Terry was in. Like when Terry gets the envelope, Kyo's the only body that doesn't get shown. You see his hand. Yeah. They're like, look at this Kyo erasure. I was like, that happened years ago. Oh, come on.
He's been trying very hard to get back in the industry.
Right.
Somehow.
But if you actually want a baseline level, if you're ever going to have like something that says KOF again versus whatever, KOF, I agree Kyo should always be prominent. If you have SNK,
Terry.
It should be Terry.
Yeah, Terry Mai. I actually personally love the Capcom versus SNK Ryu Kyo like key art era.
Yeah.
Where it's like Ryu, like young Ryu and like young ass Kyo, like beating the shit out of each other. I love that shit. I think those two characters line up super great.
It's like when they're literally punching each other and like their faces are kind of like contorted.
Yes,
that was good.
Dude.
That was great.
Yeah. No, that's great. But I just think Terry has become SNK's like Ryu. And Kyo is still, to me, KOF's like main character. Terry was never important in KOF.
No.
Never did anything.
Yeah.
He was just like, hey, come on.
Hey, come on.
He's serious.
He's a guest. He's there. He's their SNK guest character.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the English on friggin' Terry in Street Fighter 6 is like masterclass. It's like
really?
They go so ham on Japanese voice Terry speaking in English. Holy hell, dude.
I didn't hear, like, is there examples of this online? Like,
there's definitely some things you can watch, I think, where most of the builds that we were playing from the preview event had Terry speaking in Japanese, but he speaks English as a Japanese guy. Are you okay? Like, he has that style of line delivery.
Okay,
Damn.
Does he say Jesus?
Jesus.
No. Oh no!
That's my favorite line from Maximum Impact days. He just goes, Jesus.
I mean, I feel like I wouldn't not. It could have. There's a chance just because when you look at Terry in Street Fighter 6 Burnout, it's this Fatal Fury like pose.
Yeah, it's the hunched over one.
Yeah, so they like to do random stuff like random games that they're like you probably haven't played for a long time and add it in there, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine Maximum Impact reference is gonna be in there. That'd be tight.
Yeah,
that's a deep cut.
Well, the only thing could be him saying Jesus because it's the only thing he did in Maximum.
You're gonna be the first person to find out because you're the Maximum Impact guy.
Yeah, yeah.
There's Matthew Maximum Impact McMuscles.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
This God-given name.
Hit him with the maximum effort.
And we say all this, and then I play Maximum Impact, and I'm like, Maximum Impact's not very good. But I love the idea of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
I just enjoy it as a thing. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's me.
So do you think there will be anything cool we might get from the 30th anniversary, though, at the end?
I think the best we can hope for is like a KOF 15 announcement. That's it.
Yeah.
I wanted like a KOF collection, but now I just don't think like
It's not gonna happen, right? Yeah,
it doesn't line up anymore. I don't think so.
That could definitely happen, like a KOF collection of some kind. There's a high likelihood that it's like they've put out all those games in a variety of different ways, you know, individually for the most part.
Yeah, individually.
So it'd be great if you just like stuck the greatest hits all onto one thing.
I remember on WiiWare, you could get everything. You could get like a ton of SNK fighting games, like weird ones, like mainstream ones. Like it was all there once. And I was just like, Fatal Fury 3, KOF 99, cool. And like, that's the last time I remember seeing like a big lineup of all of them. But it'd be really sick to at least get all the 2D games in one collection would be amazing. But I don't know. Because I thought this was supposed to happen at the end of September, but you're saying like it's per week, so it's going to be months.
Maybe I don't know how. I don't know if they're gonna speed up the process, but it just seems like it's a long time. Like only 4 has been announced already, so
okay,
we'll see. I mean,
maybe that is enough time.
Yeah, I guess it's the 30th year, so like they have technically a whole year to publish it. I guess, right?
I guess so. Right.
But everybody also is extremely happy because everyone always kept talking to me about, hey man, what about us Xbox boys? And you know, because all 3 of us were extremely happy about the collection, the Marvel collection, the Capcom Fighting collection, except for the Xbox boys. But now Xbox platforms, you guys have the collection coming your way.
Yep, it's real. And what's weird about it is that like it was clearly a decision that was made not that long ago because it ain't coming out for like 6 months.
Yeah, that's true.
And the fact that it was the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 was announced still with no Xbox logos, and everyone's like, we're cooked, we're done, we're fucked. Like everyone give up, right? Like it's never gonna happen. Then like what? Less than a week, a few days later, it's just like, no, it is happening. Don't worry.
So, and a lot of people, I mean, it could be the case. I'm just pointing out, like, obvious thing. A lot of people account for it being an emulator issue. Like, you can't run those games with that hardware or MT framework or whatever the heck they're doing to run those games. You can't run it on Xbox One or Xbox Series S and X. So that's why it's not coming out. It was actually a technical issue. But I'm like, my dude, Capcom Fighting Collection 1 is on Xbox One, and it was on, and it works on Series S and X. Also, Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle. These games, these don't sound the same as the MVC collection, but they are. They run the exact same backend. It's the same shit that has run all these old Capcom collection games. It works. So I don't, to me, it doesn't make sense. Those are the same things running on the same engine. They do it. It's odd to me that suddenly it just doesn't work. Suddenly, now it doesn't work anymore. And it's like
the only thing I thought was because those games that you mentioned were like a few years old now, right? And I think maybe at some point Microsoft said, all right, no more Xbox One versions of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now they had to rescind that because there's been so many people complaining, other developers saying like, hey, this is not great. And now because this was announced for Xbox One, and which is like, okay, well, who plays on Xbox
It's
One
only
anymore?
on old generation hardware. It's not on PS5.
Yeah, but now it doesn't matter because it's still compatible on current Xboxes.
Exactly.
And that's the only thing I could think of why there was a span of time where Microsoft said no more Xbox One, but now they're like, okay, fine. You know, there's these outlier cases.
Yeah.
And these are super popular games because Amazon top 10 pre-sold, you know, like.
So here's, in my head, here's what
crazy.
happens. It's like Microsoft is effectively like, so we're not supporting Xbox One games anymore. And when a developer makes a game, they don't just like create all versions of it. We're going to make PS4 version. We're going to make an Xbox One version, Series X and S and PS4 Pro. And they don't do that. They effectively get requested from like from the publishers and stuff. Okay, so we're producing on these systems. We have a deal with Sony. We have a deal with Microsoft. We're producing for these platforms, right? At some point, Microsoft is like, all right, so we're not doing Xbox One anymore. Capcom, you're releasing these collections. You're not releasing them on current generation hardware. Well, good luck. And they were probably
Good luck.
we're sorry, we're not supporting Xbox One anymore. Flash forward to the collection being announced. It's not on Xbox Series S and X because Capcom didn't get the support to release it on Xbox One. Yeah. And they're like, well, we're not even releasing it on the next hardware generation. Microsoft freaks out because they're like, oh, a ton of people are mad pissed. Who let this happen? Like, how did you... This was obviously something we could like. Phil's like, fuck, this is another goddamn big L for us. And make it happen. Like, give them the support they need. So that's exactly what's happening, is that we just spent $70 billion. I know we said no to Xbox One games because we can't afford shit anymore. But now it's like, so people actually kind of want this. Maybe we should make that happen. And that, to me, that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, too.
So Capcom now has the support from Microsoft to distribute their games on Xbox One again. And they got the necessary like technical support from them to do it.
Yeah. I think we said in an episode previous that it was kind of like a bit of a sticking point that like Marvel games have all been on Xbox platforms ever since like Marvel 2.
Yeah, I know.
And it just kind of was like weird. Like, why was this happening?
It wasn't, it didn't really feel like a betrayal to me. It felt like a Microsoft thing.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
There's no reason Capcom would do that, especially since Capcom is supporting Xbox with like every other AAA
like has a ton of Game Pass
have.
games, like Path of the Goddess and all the other shit is on Game Pass. It's like, no, dude, there's no animosity here. They're working with each other. This was something funky, and the only thing that lines up is that MS is like, yeah, we don't do Xbox One games anymore.
And
this
just straight hard,
this is a PS4 Xbox One game. Like, that's the whole point of it.
But now it's actually happening, and I saw so much not confusion, but it was like people because it was separate announcements of the Marvel collection and the Capcom Fighting collection, where people in like threads on social media were like, that sucks. Where's the Marvel collection? They're complaining about in the Capcom Fighting collection thread.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, no, that was announced. Too. So, but then people in the Capcom Fighting collection were like, "Oh, I don't care about any of this SNK crap. Where's Marvel?" And there's no, that was announced too. And like it was a confusing way to do it. It was separate announcements because it's separate, like
Twitter
accounts,
clearly was a decision
channels.
that was like ever since the game became the best fucking selling PS4 game for weeks on Amazon and shit. Microsoft is like, well, we probably should not have done that. So let's rescind that. Let's give Capcom the support. And 6 months later, it's coming out. So. And that the collection, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, is also coming out like next year. So there's a good chance that it might be like 5 to 6 months after the Marvel Collection's release, which is literally in a few days.
So you think like March?
Yeah.
March 2025?
March is doable.
Makes sense to me, It makes sense it would be like around Monster Hunter, but not like right on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because Monster Hunter usually comes around February,
Beginning
March
of the year.
Well too. Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Just this month is really busy for Capcom in general because it's Marvel Collection, Miles Edgeworth Collection, Dead Rising, and
Terry
I think
Bogard.
Terry Bogard too. Shit,
Terry.
that was the one I was thinking.
It's a busy ass month for Capcom.
It is a bit, and then obviously Tokyo Game Shows this month too. So we might have more announcements.
We're going to be talking about stuff. I have a funny feeling we're going to be talking even more about stuff in the next couple weeks. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, and potentially around that time frame, a new Sony State of Play.
Yeah.
That's true too. Probably.
Yeah. Since we're already on the topic, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, man, we were talking earlier. I was tearing up when I was watching because I
couldn't believe it.
Like I was saving up for this.
No, because there was so many. Like, okay, we safely assumed that the CVS collection of some sort was coming out because of the relationship. Yeah. But all the other games, that was like the super like, wow, they really brought this all back. That really got me.
Because you could have 100% just released like CVS 1, CVS 1 Pro, and CVS 2 and CVS 2 Pro, EO. You could have done that, and you could have still charged people $40 for it.
And I would have been good.
Like, yeah. Because in my head, I always thought CVS 1, CVS 1, CVS Pro, CVS 2, and that would be the collection.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Have you guys noticed this in both the Marvel vs. Capcom collection that happened, the announcement that happened on the Nintendo Direct?
Yeah.
And this new one for Capcom Fighting Collection 2, the announcer says the shit really sexy and like really sultry. He'll like for the Capcom SNK collection, Fighting Collection, he goes, "This'll be a battle to remember." And I remember he did that too. Like he's like, he knows this shit's gonna rile everyone up.
He knows it's gonna hit.
Yeah, he knows it's gonna hit. This happened right on my birthday. I wake up at like 9 a.m. and I'm like, I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, there's a Nintendo Indies thing happening. And I sleep through it. And I wake up just as the partner part, the showcase partners is happening. But that was just called partners, right? And because the last time the Direct it was just a Nintendo Direct. Like that's just what it was called. Yeah. I'm not expecting much, and I'm just like this, like my eyes half open. Sometimes I'm nodding off, and then I just hear in my like I had it on my phone, and I just hear, "This'll be a battle to remember," and you see the fucking Shinkiro art, and my eyes just like, no, there's no way.
Looking at your phone, like what the
really close to my face, but still thought, oh, this is just this is just Capcom versus SNK. And then they show the alpha footage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's like Alpha 3 Max Upper. It's like, what? Oh, Alpha 3 Upper. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, that's weird.
All the others. And I'm like, this is the one. This is in episode 4 of this fucking podcast. We have an episode called Bring Them Back.
Yep.
And pretty much all of the other games here, Plasma Sword, Rival Schools, Power
Stone,
Justice, I should say, Power Stone. These have always been every couple episodes. Hey, Capcom. When every time I see Andy from Capcom, he's like, hey, yeah, what are you looking? What are you into? I'm like, I'm really into Power Stone. And he goes, yep. Every time. We hear you.
I had a recollection moment where it's like, I'm like, how long have I been bitching about this? And I went back and I started like searching Power Stone, and Rival Schools videos and me talking about Capcom fighting games back in like 2011, 2012, literally asking for exactly this shit. Me making petitions for the PS3 version of CVS2 to have online back in like 2012. And I'm like, God damn, we've been doing this for a very long time. Like, it's been a long time.
It's just beautiful. Like everything about it. Like it makes me never want to miss a Nintendo Direct ever again.
Yeah, man. Now I can't.
Because I actually missed this one. I woke up to like 1 billion messages, and I'm like, the reason happened?
I got up for it was because the Marvel collection was announced on an early Direct.
Yeah,
and it was like, okay, so this is not just an indie Direct, it's an indie and partner Direct, and partners like Capcom stuff. They're gonna have another trailer for the MVC collection or show us the release date or some shit.
Yeah,
that's why I was there. And then, Terry shows up with Ryu, and I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? What is this? So yeah, like I number one would not have expected them to announce this close to the other collection.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they're like, oh no, it comes out way later. We're effectively announcing this now, before our next hardware shit starts kicking in, and like Capcom has like a good spot right now with Nintendo to release these trailers at these events, because again, the MVC games have never been on Nintendo hardware, and a lot of these Capcom versus SNK games, a lot of them, and Project Justice, all this kind of stuff have never been on Nintendo hardware too. Like the only one is CVS2, so that is. This is reaching an entirely different audience than these games have ever had the opportunity to do so in the past. And that's mad important. And it shows why they're popping off now, because it's like, oh, they grabbed like a casual market,
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Nintendo and Capcom should hire Sakurai to do a special Direct where he tells you about each game and why he loves it. That's on the collection.
Dude, here's you want my Omega Brain theory behind this stuff? Like, why this is happening here and then why it's popping off so hard.
I think I know where you're going, but yeah.
My Omega Brain theory is that we're obviously getting new Switch hardware. We're obviously getting like a Switch 2 or something in the near future.
Yeah.
Down the line, the probability and likelihood of there being a new Marvel vs. Capcom game is definitely likely. Like, it's not, I don't even think it's a matter of like if anymore. Like I said, I think that's just more of a win. And the same thing for a new Capcom vs. SNK game. I don't think it's really a matter of if anymore. I think that's just going to happen. We just have to wait for it.
I think it'll take a while.
It'll take a while.
Before, like, I can still see them like, hey, we can milk this with a Marvel 3 re-release too.
Sure. Somewhere
like,
in between.
Another year or two or something.
Sure.
But
all I'm saying is that those things are going to happen now, in my opinion. I don't think this is like an impossible world anymore. No, I think like the stepping stones are there on both fronts. So all I'm trying to say is that what if it's on all the stuff it usually is, and it's also on Nintendo hardware for the first time? Brand new games on Nintendo hardware.
I mean, there we go. We support Nintendo waking up for every direct because I want to see the Tatsunoko versus Capcom re-release coming soon. You know what I mean? Let me see that.
That's all I'm saying now is that there's a relationship built directly with these franchises and Nintendo that has not been around before. And they're utilizing Nintendo Directs to do it. And it's like, man, what if this is like the beginning of something really crazy? What if like Marvel vs. Capcom 4 is announced at a Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 or some shit? I'm just throwing ideas out.
You know what was crazy to me, and it's feeding what you're saying, is just like you're watching a random Nintendo Direct, like, 2-3 years ago, and they're like, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, exclusive, Spider-Man characters in it, and I lost my shit. And that game is like nothing spectacular, but it's solid. Like, it's still
completely
fun or whatever. And was it Team Ninja made it? Like, what? And that just struck me, and that can now happen anytime. I forgot that can... Just these weird Marvel Capcom, not Capcom, but like weird Marvel curveballs can just sort of
weird partners, like just coming out of nowhere,
And that's smart because again, they're reaching an entirely different audience. Like these things are popping off harder than ever before because you had Nintendo fans expecting Nintendo shit at these events, and all of a sudden, you know, Nintendo fans are of all ages and probably the biggest large core audience of any of these consoles. And now they're like, I can play Marvel vs. Capcom and Power Stone on my Switch. Like, oh my God, I can play CVS2 on my Switch. This is so... That is going to help out the sales of those games exponentially in the exact same way. In the past, Dragon Ball FighterZ and Mortal Kombat 11 were greatly boosted in their performance, sales performance, by being on Switch and having good Switch ports. So... to me, it's like the best case scenario for getting the most people into these games, into one spot, into the ability to play them in some ways, to not get them stifled by just one piece of hardware or console exclusive to just only the next generation, right?
Yeah.
I would lose my fucking mind if like a new MVC game came out, a brand new one, and it's also on Nintendo hardware, and it's also on PC, and it's also on PlayStation and Xbox.
It's on everything
for CVS.
Right? Yeah.
And I think Capcom might have learned something about, like, you don't have to have these characters push graphical fidelity super hard. Like, we're talking about DBZ FighterZ on Switch. That game looks great the way it does because it has a nice simplified art style that's attractive. And like, you know,
not to mention Capcom's second best-selling game of all time was a Switch game. It was Monster Hunter Rise. It was a clearly inferior visual game compared to Monster Hunter World. And their Switch port sold like 10 million copies in like the first year. Shit.
I don't know, is that much? Damn.
It's their second best-selling game of all time.
Jesus.
Do we want to? I assume this is due to weird things with the engine, but why is there no Star Gladiator and just Rival Schools? Why did they?
It's Naomi.
It's just because those are Naomi.
It's not even. So, for example, I thought the same thing too. I thought Plasma Sword was a Naomi game. It's
Dreamcast.
Not.
Me too.
It's Dreamcast.
It technically isn't. It's some weird in-between game that is like not entirely CVS2 / MVC2. It's like somewhere in between, but it's still being ported. I think the reasoning behind it is that there's already a lot of like critical games in here. There's like 7 or 8 games that are great. And I think Rival Schools 1 and Star Gladiator 1 become a little redundant. I just think that if you were to be like, okay, so which games do we want to put into this collection? Well, you could have taken out Power Stone 1 and 2 and included Rival Schools 1 and Star Gladiator. But that would not be as appealing of a package.
You could take out Power Stone 2. You could just add Power Stone 1.
Power Stone 1 is so good.
You can't say that, Matt.
Yo,
I greatly prefer Power Stone 1 to 2.
I know, I do too, but Power Stone 2
is still great.
You can't say that.
Two is a party game versus compared to 1.
Am I going to get Kenny appearing behind me and I have to go like he's right behind me, isn't he?
There's a, I mean, and it isn't just Kenny. I hear it from
it's not just,
The 4-player aspect, I get it. I'm with you. I think Power Stone 1 is a better looking game and it's a better playing game. But the fun factor of Power Stone 2 with 4 players, did I say 1 or 2? 2 is like the big game. That's like the game that everyone can jump in and play. Imagine like this is effectively Capcom Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It is, but yeah. I would still imagine though that people like there's some people that are just like, I really like Project Justice is great, but why can't I also have actual rival schools? And like I don't think anyone's expecting also localize the dating sim. Like
sure.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, but the core game itself, it's still a little weird, and they're like, are they just saving that for a third collection? Like,
it could be saved for a third collection. In that third collection, it could be like the shitty looking collection, because again, Dreamcast era visuals still age pretty well. Like Plasma Sword, a pretty decent looking game as like a 3D game, right? Tech Romancer, another game that could have been in there, but I understand why nobody knows what the fuck that is. But they have not released anything of PS1 era because visually it's kind of shitty looking.
It is
like Street Fighter EX games are kind of ugly. Like Star Gladiator, kind of ugly. Like these games aren't particularly like graphically amazing looking. So they didn't. To me, I kind of see why they did it because Project Justice is just effectively a better rival school in almost every way. And in the same way for Star Gladiator to Plasma Sword, Star Gladiator's pretty rough, bro.
Yeah, Plasma Sword is better.
Plasma Sword's an actual game.
Yeah, I played it not too long ago.
So it's like, I see why they did that. Like, if those were included and they took out, like, other things, like even Capcom Fighting Jam or something like that.
That's the one they should remove.
That's the one where I was like, yeah, you could have taken out Fighting Jam for Rival Schools 1. I think so.
You could put Saturday Night Slam Masters 2 in there.
Or Sengoku Basara X.
Yeah, whatever.
Or Street Fighter the movie. I'd rather play Street Fighter the movie.
Yeah. So
that would have been better actually.
There's definitely space for another collection to exist in the future because there's obviously these outlier games that can be there, but is a collection that has the Street Fighter EX's, Star Gladiator 1, Rival Schools, Street Fighter the movie, the game, and Tech Romancer, is that a really appealing collection?
For me,
that's the black sheep. That's the black sheep collection.
It's kind of like, ooh, okay. Like,
I would love that collection.
Well, to a certain degree, Capcom
Final
Fighting
Fight
Collection
Revenge.
Capcom Fighting Collection 1 was sort of a black sheep collection outside of like Darkstalkers, to be honest.
Yeah, Warzord, Red Earth.
Warzord and Red Earth and Darkstalkers, Pocket Fighter was in there.
Pocket Fighter, Red Earth.
Puzzle Fighter was in there.
It is a weird one compared to this one. Like this one has more heavy hitters and stuff. Just Capcom versus SNK itself is like enough.
But can you really?
Go ahead.
I was like, can you really? Let's say there was a part 3. Can you really bring like? We need like a main game. Are we gonna really put Third Strike back in or like the alpha?
Ooh.
And there's where my brain is like, okay, so what of the old Capcom games can you release that needs to be given some fucking justice? That like, okay, yeah, Project Justice and CVS and Power Stone, bro, like, come on. Like, it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
So that is like, oh, thank God. Marvel versus Capcom, oh, thank God. It's been 10 plus years. Thank God, dude. To me, it's like, if there's a game that hasn't been given justice since Third Strike Online Edition, it is Third Strike. Third Strike, it was the selling point of 30th Anniversary Collection, and it was a not entirely great port of it.
It's not, yeah.
So it's like the kind of the black sheep port of all of them. So to me, if there is a Capcom fighting game, we have to start thinking of which fighting games that Capcom need to get re-released. Like which ones really are like, God damn, like what the hell, dude? To me, it's kind of like, dude, Third Strike. Like you have Online Edition, and we just let it go because we just lost it on Xbox. Like you have all those assets.
And because this current collection is just like, here's a random Alpha 3 version, not even the best Alpha 3, by the way. I thought it was like, oh yeah, this one's great. No, this isn't the PSP
it's
one.
The arcade game.
The PSP one is the actual one, the best version of Alpha 3, has the most content.
All of these games are arcade games.
Yeah, arcade
Yeah,
games.
so that's the thing. Is like when people are like, "Oh, you can put Tatsunoko in a collection." You can't really because it's a huge ass
completely different thing.
Game with tons of content. Like that's gonna
and licensing hell.
There's only the Japanese version arcade, but that one's to me really busted one.
To me, as you're saying,
the Japanese version is missing characters. That's the North American version.
Yeah, Ultimate All Stars had everything. Those are the two games, in my opinion. I was about to say it, where it's like Third Strike and Tatsunoko versus Capcom. where it's like those two games have effectively not really gotten their comeuppance in either like 20 years or nearly 20 years or 10 plus years.
Yeah.
My third collection would be so fucked up. It would be like
Final Fight Revenge,
Sengoku Basara X.
Yep.
That would
Street
be
Fighter
like
the movie, the game.
Street Fighter the movie, all
Both
the
of them.
EXs.
All the EXs.
The busted arcade Street Fighter the movie, the game, and the PlayStation version, which plays like Super Turbo.
Don't do
Those are
PlayStation.
essential.
Don't do PlayStation 1.
No, because it's got Sawada doing the crazy supers in the
But
home
it's
version.
it's so bad though.
It is though, but yeah, no, like it has to be those, and yeah, like all the EXs. But I don't think we're ever going to see EX3 just because it's a weird PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah, that's hard.
And I think to me it's like there's maybe a space for the EXs and Arika, because Capcom and Arika have been cool with each other. You know,
Yeah.
Garuda skin and Kairi skin is in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
There's possibly a spot where there's a little bit of interest for that. But I think the amount of people that are like, oh, I fucking love Street Fighter EX games is relatively paltry. And I'm one of them, dude.
It's
I
small,
love
yeah.
EX plus Alpha. EX2 plus is dope.
Half your channel's branding is the music from these
It's true. I'll stand the shit out of those things, even though they were historically unpopular in the 90s. They just were when they came out. They've grown popularity like over time. So to me, it's like, yeah, like you could do that. You could make that part of a collection. It would be really cool. We would be happy. But would it have like the appeal of Marvel Collection or CFC2? Probably not.
Listen, we're already good. It's the Arika collection is coming out because Gal Winquote is starting to make a video about it.
Yeah.
Once
So
he
it's
makes
gonna happen.
once he makes a video about something, the collection will come out literally weeks
Yes.
within. That's what's
We
gonna
need
happen.
him to make a Tekken and Soul Calibur collection video.
And
He
a
needs to go
Bloody
back
Roar.
and play
A Bloody Roar.
And a Bloody Roar.
Bloody Roar. He needs to go back and make a Bloody Roar 2 video because Bloody Roar 2 is like the best playing one. And you know, get on it, Guy Winquote, please.
Yeah. Oh, but you know, I totally forgot about the one Capcom game we haven't announced yet that could be in the collection. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Not gonna happen.
It already happened.
Did it?
No,
When?
it did,
I own
but
it.
Oh, really?
It was made by literally the dude that directed Marvel 3. It was made by
Yeah.
Nitsuma-san, and it released like in 2012, like a year after Marvel 3 came out, and it was only available for about a year. And they lost.
Oh,
360.
wow.
They lost the license for the JoJo game. And guess what came out right after that in 2013 in Japan? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like Ultimate All-Star Battle or whatever. It's the Bandai Namco game.
The one that just got re-released as well, too.
The one that also
Yeah.
conveniently just got re-released last year from 10 years ago. So Bandai Namco still has the distribution rights.
yeah. So
to that shit.
That's what I mean by like a modern version is not going to happen unless Namco plays ball with Capcom because they're never going to let the JoJo license go.
They're never going to let it go anymore. They have all those anime lights. And that was the
that's so
reason why
sad.
the re-release of that JoJo game that Capcom did, which was a really cool port. They made it was like MVC Origins, Third Strike Online Edition. It was a port like that. It was awesome. If you could have bought it in the very limited period of time you could have gotten it.
I did buy it because
I have it too.
Like,
I have it on my 360. It'll never come back. Bandai Namco has that shit by the balls, dude. And it can change. Shit can change. But yes, that is like one of the last ones.
Yeah, that's the best JoJo's game for fighting game, at least.
I still think it would be such a flex for Capcom to re-release a game that they commissioned Arc System Works to make for them in Sengoku Basara X.
Yeah,
Just like, hey, I remember when you used to work
The
for
mid
us.
2000s, yep.
I mean, they also did Fate Stay Night as well, too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they published it, too, so that could be another one.
So
There's
anyway,
even that-
CFC2 is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
this is literally the shit that all three people on this podcast have been bitching and moaning about for like 10, 20 years. And this is, again, like, another. There's a reason why the reactions were so big as they were. These games were lost to time. A majority of them, their last releases were on like the PSP. And that was it, dude. So, what I love about this collection, it's an ode to the Dreamcast.
Yeah,
It's just,
for sure.
This
It
is
is.
just Dreamcast swan song Capcom game.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're just missing 3 more ports now, right? Like a Bandai Namco one for Tekken and Soul Calibur.
Oh, yeah.
A Mortal Kombat old school
Oh my
one.
god.
And
Mortal
a
Kombat
Bloody
collection,
Roar.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, so we're missing those 3. Those are the only ones we got Capcom unlocked, so we're,
Soul
we're good.
Calibur, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Bloody Roar.
That's it, right?
A Guilty Gear one.
Oh,
Guilty Gear. Well, yeah, they've been. Well, I'd say Guilty Gear's fine because they backported like rollback netcode into XR
onto a bunch. Yeah, that's
into
true.
Accent Core plus R, so they're kind of good. What else is there that is like, come on, bro? Like what? I think
that
those are
has
the 4 big ones.
multiple entries. That has multiple entries.
Yeah, that is like not been ever released or forever.
Besides Arica, like it's just those 4 that
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But those are
get
big
it
ones,
soon.
dude. The fact that we cannot reliably play old Mortal Kombat games nowadays sucks.
That's tough. That's very tough.
We can't play old Tekken games nowadays. Sucks. Old Soul Calibur games sucks. Bloody Roar. Well, fuck you. You know, like it's brutal.
Yeah,
But,
it is very brutal. But I mean, if the Capcom collection gives me hope that these ports will eventually, hopefully, come.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
Because we've been doing 80 some episodes, and like a thing that Max said we've been bitching about for 83 for 70 like 7 episodes. Like, why aren't this seems like such a slam dunk, Capcom, to just release Power Stone or Project Justice or Rival Schools, whatever combination, and Capcom versus SNK is like, why isn't it happening? And then slowly we'll be like, maybe Capcom versus SNK will happen, and this is a crazy timeline now.
As soon as SVC Chaos was announced, I'm like, oh, they're doing their own. So that means Capcom's going to release CVS at some point, like maybe next year. They're going to wait, and it was literally within a less than a month they were announcing it. Like,
this will be a battle to remember.
It was so good.
Holy shit!
Now, before we wrap up, Max, talk to us about Infinite and Beyond. What's the update? What's beyond the update?
Yeah, we had a big on demo about less than a month ago or so, and big visual overhaul. Almost the whole roster has gone through a visual overhaul, but not the version you saw had not gone through full polish yet. And I am the one that is effectively polishing every single character, every single color, alternate color for every single character. Yeah. So that's what I'm currently doing. It just takes a very long time, and I'm not really a director anymore, only just telling people what to do. About 2.5 months ago, I got my hands dirty, and I've been working in Unreal Engine, and people are like, oh, so I'll show you how to change this. So I learned, and then I learned another thing, and then I learned another thing, and now it's just like, oh, so this is just my whole fucking life now. So anyway, that's what I've been doing, and working with our texture artists, working with the gameplay folks, and trying to get everything to the point where it is. So yeah, the gameplay stuff is out. There's a beta for it. Play it right now. Gotten very good reception. We've had a couple of update patches. The visual stuff is not out yet. It's we'll have another visual update because we're not done. And the visuals from that demo that either you saw or anybody else have already gone through some pretty substantial change, and looks way better and more readable, and game just looks better. So just look forward to it. We got more stuff coming.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that looks. It already looks so beautiful, and then from the video that you released on YouTube, it showed like things that was already like, like you couldn't do before. So it's already like, just besides like you mentioned, you could download the beta now. It's not. It wasn't. I think for most people thought it was just a visual upgrade, but there's also like balancing involved, which makes it a really complete different game as well too.
So yeah, and again, like when this release eventually happens, we still have a lot of work to do on the back end, but ideally it's the visual upgrade. It's gameplay changes across the board, and to a lot of characters, not every single character, but to a lot of characters, removing really annoying stuff and stuff that just didn't make sense, and just baselining it. And then the other thing is obviously our 2v2 modes. So, 2v2 team mode, primarily meant for like an offline affair, but we're already theorizing that if you use Parsec, there's ways that you can play 2v2 online with other people. Sense. Yeah, so, I think so. If you want to do the crazy 4 players on the screen at one time, each two, like team A, team B, and they fight the fuck out of each other, I'm telling you guys, like, you have to play it. Like, this is something that not every single person's going to get to play, but if you have the opportunity to do so, in the future, when we release it and there's an option in the menu, 2v2 at the same time, and you get like 3 of your other friends with you, this mode is so much goddamn fun. It's wild. So to me, that's like the hero mode of our game is our
buddy
2v2
battle.
cross.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the buddy battle. The cross Tekken shit.
love Buddy Battle so much. How much would it cost for you and your team to do Final Fight Revenge for me? Just a complete graphical overhaul. Send me a number. I will send that to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that.
He's okay.
I'll extend the passion I have for this directly to that.
Please.